On the afternoon of July 11, 2005, Brittany Lortz, an 18-year-old recent high school graduate, was found by her stepfather, Reginald Weeks, lying dead on her bed in her Salisbury, North Carolina home. The cause of her death was a stab wound to her neck. Initially, investigators suspected a failed robbery as the motive for the crime. However, as they dug deeper into the case, unsettling revelations and shocking family secrets began to surface. What events led to Brittany's tragic fate? What dark truths lay hidden within her family's past, waiting to be exposed? Hi friends, and welcome back to Mysterious 7. Today, we're looking at the case with insane twists and turns of Brittany Lortz. But first, if you still haven't subscribed to our channel, please consider hitting the subscribe and like buttons. So without any further ado, let's dive right into this twisted mystery. Salisbury is a city in North Carolina that has a population of more than 35,000 residents. Located in Rowan County, the city is steeped in rich history and boasts of stunning architecture, streets lined with unique shops, and a thriving art scene. From the Railwalk Studios and Gallery to the vibrant Salisbury Historic District, there's something for everyone to explore. However, in this city, a tragic crime unfolded. To understand the full story, we must first travel to Forsyth County, North Carolina, where it all began. Brittany Lortz was born on May 7, 1987, in Forsyth County, North Carolina, to Roderick Lortz and Angela Vontina.
She was something special. Everybody around her knew she was special. She had a heart of gold. She was an angel.
However, as time passed, Brittany's parents' feelings for each other changed, and they eventually went their separate ways. The reasons for their breakup are still unknown. Angela, Brittany's mother, went on to marry a man named Reginald Weeks Jr. Angela, together with her mother and stepfather, lived at 916 Scales Street in the town of Salisbury, Rowan County, North Carolina. Brittany's biological father, Roderick, remained a constant presence and continued to play an important role in her life.
I was always close to her. Took her to the park, took her out, went to eat. I did father stuff, you know.
Brittany attended North Rowan High School and had a busy life during her time there. She took on various roles, such as being the Sunday school secretary, singing in the youth choir, and serving on the Junior Ushers Board. In May 2005, Brittany proudly donned her graduation cap and bid farewell to North Rowan High School. At 18 years old, she planned to attend Rowan Cabarrus Community College in the upcoming fall, and later transferred to North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University to study education. She had a dream of becoming a teacher. However, before college began, Brittany decided to find a job for the summer. She wanted to stay busy. It was an opportunity to earn some money while preparing for her educational journey. Brittany embraced the summer job, dedicating herself to the tasks at hand. Each day she worked diligently, knowing that this experience would contribute to her personal growth and resilience. Now, Brittany had a half-sister named Asti Lortz, who was the daughter of her biological father from another woman. Despite having different mothers, they shared a strong bond and were very close. On June 19, 2005, which was Father's Day, they decided to visit their father, Roderick. Asti, who was then 15 years old, lived with her mother and stepfather. During their visit, both girls had a day filled with fun and adventure. It was a carefree and enjoyable day. Little did they know, amidst their laughter and excitement, that they would never see each other again. On the afternoon of July 11, 2005, a terrible incident happened in Salisbury. The police department received an urgent call reporting a stabbing at Brittany's home.
911, do you have an emergency?
She's not breathing. We don't know what to do. She's been stabbed.
Within minutes, Officer Brent Hall arrived at the scene. Emergency medical services were already present, and a few concerned individuals stood outside the house. Officer Hall entered the home and made his way to Brittany's bedroom. He carefully observed the distressing scene before him, taking note of every detail. She was on the floor next to her bed, and it was obvious that she was dead. Officer Hull noticed that she was still dressed in her pajamas and had bloodstains marking her neck. The urgency to understand the situation compelled him to inquire about the location of her stab wound, which the emergency medical services workers confirmed to be her neck. Seeking answers amid the chaos, Officer Hull turned his attention to Brittany's stepfather, Reginald. Reginald, who was accompanied by his father, explained how he'd come across the devastating sight. He and his father had stopped by the house at 4:15 p.m. to retrieve some work documents when they discovered Brittany bleeding on her bed. Together with his father, they did their best to perform CPR until professional assistance arrived. Officer Hull recognized the severity of the situation and promptly called for additional support from investigators. Investigator Stephen Holmes from the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, along with a team of colleagues, swiftly arrived at the scene. Without delay, they began their examination. Starting with the front door, the investigators found no signs of forced entry. However, upon entering, they discovered a disheveled interior, suggesting that it had been ransacked. Proceeding to Brittany's bedroom, they were confronted with the sight of her lifeless body, marked by visible ligature marks encircling her neck. Investigator Holmes also noticed a wire hanger nearby, which he suspected may have caused the marks.
There was a hanger found in Brittany's room. The hanger was unbound, lying on the floor. To our eye, it seemed as if the hanger could have made those ligature marks. It appeared as if Brittany had been both strangled and stabbed.
There was no immediate evidence to suggest that Brittany had been abused, as she remained fully clothed. As investigator Holmes tried to piece together the puzzle of Brittany's tragic demise, he considered the possibility that the crime might have been a failed robbery. However, he couldn't ignore the fact that nothing seemed to have been stolen. A computer stood untouched, and the family's valuables, including credit cards and jewelry, remained undisturbed. The ransacked state of the home suggested that someone had been searching for something, but what that something was remained a mystery. Undeterred, the team of investigators then embarked on a thorough search of the premises, hoping to find a weapon that could provide vital clues. However, their efforts yielded nothing. Following this, they then decided to collect several items for further examination. This included an answering machine, bedding, a cell phone, checkbooks, a coat hanger, a computer, a jewelry case, and other miscellaneous objects. Additionally, they gathered blood, fibers, fingerprints, and hair samples from Brittany's bedroom. They hoped that every piece of evidence they collected would play a crucial role in helping them understand what had happened. With their tasks completed, the investigators made the difficult decision to remove Brittany's lifeless body from the scene. Her delicate form was transported with utmost care, destined for the autopsy room. Less than 24 hours after Brittany's death, investigator Holmes and Detective J.D. Barber conducted interviews with her stepfather, Reginald, and her mother, Angela. They sought to piece together the events of that tragic day. Angela shared her work schedule, explaining that she'd been at her job from 7 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. She'd returned home around 4 p.m. Attention then turned to Reginald, Brittany's stepfather, who gave a heart-wrenching account that painted a picture of profound loss and unimaginable pain. He told investigators that he departed from home on that fateful day at approximately 7 a.m. to work at a job site on Bourbon Street. From there, he went to another location on Pinewood Avenue to repair a bathroom. He revealed that he then planned to meet with a woman named Amanda Scott, who needed work done on her home. But before he did this, he and his father went to his home to retrieve some documents. Reginald's account continued with the haunting discovery he made upon entering the home. He'd noticed that the drawers and computer stand were opened, and this had prompted him to call out for Brittany, but he got no response. He said his apprehension grew as he approached her bedroom, where he found her lying motionless on the bed. With disbelief and anguish gripping his heart, he tried to wake her up, only to notice a wound on her neck. He instinctively cried out while cradling her to his chest. The sound of his distress reached his father, who'd been sitting outside in the truck the whole time. It was at this moment that Angela returned from her day of work and was confronted with a scene that would forever haunt her memories. Reginald's explanation appeared credible. It was also bolstered by his willingness to cooperate fully with the police. He even volunteered to undergo a polygraph examination. Satisfied with the information he provided, investigators then turned their attention to Brittany's biological father, Roderick. However, their inquiries soon cleared him of any suspicion, as they discovered he'd been out of town during the time of the incident. With no immediate leads to pursue, investigators embarked on a tireless mission to gather information from the neighborhood where the crime had occurred. Door to door, they canvassed the area, seeking anyone who might have witnessed or heard something unusual on the day Brittany died. Interestingly, some residents mentioned glimpsing a man running between houses on that day. However, no one had taken a good look at him to be able to provide a detailed description. Despite this setback, investigators remained steadfast in their pursuit of justice. They were driven by the desire to bring closure to the grieving family affected by the devastating loss. As the investigation unfolded, the results of Brittany's autopsy were revealed, shedding light on the details of her death. It was determined that she'd been strangled with a coat hanger and rendered unconscious, but ultimately, it was the deep stab wound to her neck that proved fatal. Surprisingly, there were no signs of defensive wounds on Brittany's body, and no foreign DNA was found on her. However, during the examination, a concerning discovery emerged. She had an injury on her private parts. The medical examiner, while performing the autopsy, speculated that it could have been the result of consensual activity. This revelation took the police down a different path, leading them to consider the possibility that Brittany had engaged in an unconventional and potentially dangerous intercourse involving strangulation. They began to theorize that her death may have been an accident, where a planned rendezvous went horribly wrong. The idea that whomever had killed her had panicked and manipulated the crime scene began to take shape in their minds. With this startling twist, investigators knew that untangling the web of secrets surrounding Brittany's personal life would be crucial in solving the case. Their investigation soon led them to a young man simply identified as Terry. He was someone Brittany had dated before she died. As the authorities sat down with Terry for an interview, they could sense the weight of sorrow and genuine grief in his eyes. Terry revealed that he'd been in a relationship with Brittany for several months, but their paths had diverged 2 weeks before her death when her family embarked on a vacation. He also gave them the location of where he'd been on the day of Brittany's death. Following the interview, the investigators carefully analyzed Terry's account, seeking to establish a timeline of events and discern any potential significance. His immediate cooperation and evident distress struck a chord within them, leading them to believe that he had no involvement in Brittany's death. Yet the questions remained: who else could hold the key to the truth? And what secrets lay hidden beneath the surface of Brittany's seemingly ordinary life? Amid swirling rumors, suspicions began to also focus on another man named Jerome Buckler. He was Brittany's ex-boyfriend. He had a troubled history and a criminal record, making him a potential person of interest. However, when questioned by the police, he displayed intense emotions and willingly offered to undergo a polygraph test. He also provided hair and blood samples, all in an effort to prove his innocence. As the investigation continued, a series of intriguing developments emerged, adding further complexity to the case. Investigators learned from Angela, Brittany's mother, that Brittany had undergone an abortion 5 years before her death. Although they attempted to uncover the identity of who had impregnated her, Angela became guarded and refused to provide any additional details. Due to this, the investigators fully turned their attention to Angela and Reginald. They managed to acquire photographs of the couple's home that were taken the day of the murder, and upon careful examination, they made an intriguing observation. Reginald had appeared in some of the photographs, and detectives noticed something significant. His shirt did not have any bloodstains. It was a detail that contradicted his claim of cradling Brittany in his arms. This was because if he'd actually done so, his shirt would have been stained by her blood. This inconsistency raised doubts about the truthfulness of Reginald's account and placed him under closer scrutiny as a potential suspect in the case. Investigators then carefully reviewed Reginald's claimed schedule to verify his alibi. He stated that he left home at 7 a.m. on the day of the tragedy and went straight to the job site, not returning until later. However, they soon discovered that his claim was false. They managed to locate 2 witnesses who reported seeing Reginald turn back and return home shortly after leaving. These witnesses also remembered seeing Reginald at his house during lunchtime, and he appeared to be distressed. Intrigued by these findings, investigators decided to look into the woman, Amanda Scott, whom Reginald had mentioned meeting for repair work. However, they encountered difficulties in finding any information about her. There were no records or evidence to confirm her existence. Amidst the web of inconsistencies, detectives found themselves increasingly convinced that Reginald was responsible for Brittany's death. The pressing question that remained unanswered was whether the murder had been planned or if it had escalated from a heated argument. As their investigation unfolded, evidence emerged suggesting a troubling and strained relationship between Brittany and Reginald. Asti Lortz, Brittany's half-sister, disclosed to the detectives that Brittany harbored a deep disdain for Reginald.
Brittany couldn't go anywhere. She couldn't do anything. She never really got to live her life as a teenager.
She described him as controlling, often forbidding Brittany from engaging in any activities outside the home without his supervision. Friends of Brittany also stepped forward, sharing their own encounters with her fears about Reginald. Disturbingly, Brittany had confided in one friend that she had been abused by him. However, when the friend expressed anger and threatened to involve the authorities, Brittany hastily retracted her statement, pleading with her friend to keep it a secret. These revelations painted a picture of a guarded and toxic dynamic between Brittany and Reginald, fueling detectives' growing suspicion that he played a pivotal role in her untimely demise. Investigators soon pieced together a chilling sequence of events that unfolded on that fateful day. They believed that on the morning of Brittany's death, a heated argument erupted between her and Reginald. In a moment of unchecked anger, Reginald lost control and resorted to drastic measures. He forcefully restrained Brittany on the bed, using a coat hanger to tighten his grip around her neck. As the tension escalated, Brittany lost consciousness. Panicked and realizing the gravity of his actions, Reginald chose to end her life by stabbing her in the neck. Driven by fear and desperation, he then staged the crime scene to obscure the true nature of his monstrous act. In a disturbing twist, he inflicted a wound upon Brittany's private parts. Also, by ransacking Brittany's room and the rest of the house, he aimed to create the illusion of a failed robbery, further muddying the waters of truth. Armed with all this evidence, investigators confronted Reginald. But despite their allegations, he maintained his innocence. Throughout the ordeal, Angela stood by her husband, unwavering in her support, despite the mounting evidence against him. Both Reginald and Angela, now aware of the storm gathering around them, quickly sought legal counsel. Following this, investigators tried to obtain blood and hair samples to solidify their case against Reginald. However, the couple adamantly refused to yield. It was only when a judge intervened, issuing an order, that Reginald was forced to comply with the authorities' demand. Finally, on August 12, 2005, investigators executed a search warrant, taking Reginald into custody and charging him with first-degree murder. It was a significant step forward in their pursuit of justice. The community watched with bated breath, anxiously awaiting the unfolding of the truth. A couple of days after Reginald's arrest, a preliminary hearing took place. During the hearing, the judge informed him that he could potentially face the death penalty. Days soon turned into weeks, and on October 19, 2005, Reginald was released on a hefty $350,000 bond. However, his newfound freedom was short-lived. The wheels of justice continued to turn, and on February 2, 2006, he was once again apprehended, this time on an assault charge in regards to Brittany's case. The community watched in disbelief as he was released on an even higher bond of $500,000. From there, the legal battle intensified, dragging on for months. In 2007, Reginald made an Alford plea, a decision that allowed him to maintain his innocence while acknowledging the overwhelming evidence against him. The plea deal presented an opportunity for him to avoid a potentially harsher sentence. He pleaded guilty to reduced charges of second-degree murder and second-degree assault. In 2008, Reginald was sentenced to a maximum sentence of 11 years and 8 months in prison. He was released on probation on January 20, 2015, as part of the plea agreement. Finally, in March 2015, he walked out of prison a free man. The conclusion of his incarceration left a bitter taste for those who mourned Brittany, as the punishment appeared lenient in comparison to the profound loss suffered. The case of Brittany Lortz remains a haunting tragedy, filled with unanswered questions and unsettling revelations. May her memory serve as a call to action, urging us to be aware of the signs of abuse, to offer support to those in need, and to strive for a world where every individual can feel safe and valued. But as we conclude this chapter, one lingering question persists. Why did Angela, Brittany's mother, choose to stand by Reginald despite the evidence that pointed towards his guilt? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Stay safe, and thanks for watching.